Hi, this is Larry Crane. For years, people have been asking me how you do the butt system. What is the butt system? Lester talks about it, but I don't quite understand it. So now, for the first time, I'm going to really get it across to you in a way that will help you get everything you want, have everything you want, with ease. Okay, so let's examine it. What Lester means by the butt system is B-U-T-T, sitting on your rear end. Everybody has a rear end. You sit on your rear end, and just by releasing, everything happens to you without moving a muscle. Now, the highest form of action that one can take is releasing. Not to the mind. The mind is always saying, okay, I released on it, now what do I do? All it's doing is throwing into figuring it out and spinning around. So it's a waste of time. So let's see if we can do some releasing so we can get rid of some resistance to understanding what I'm about to say. So ask your mind if it knows what the butt system is. Go ahead, ask it. It doesn't have a clue, does it? So asking something that doesn't have an answer is like looking into an empty file cabinet for an answer, but you keep looking anyway, over and over again. Okay. Do you have an answer? No. Okay. Now your mind has also told you to beat yourself up about it. Okay. How does that help you to get an answer? It doesn't. And who's doing it? You are. So if you are doing it and it doesn't resolve the situation, now you need to make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide? Okay. I'm assuming you decided to love yourself. So could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And more. And more. And more. And more. And could you give yourself some approval, because that's a smart thing to do? Could you give yourself some more approval? Could you give yourself some more approval? And a little bit more. And could you give yourself some more approval? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And could you give yourself some more approval? And a little bit more. And even more. And more. And more. Let's see if your mind is getting quieter now. Now, when your mind is quiet, you're the most powerful. When your mind is noisy and you're spinning around with figuring it out, it means you don't know, and therefore you're not getting anywhere. Now, can you see that also, that in trying to understand what the butt system is, you're into wanting. Okay? Want is lack. And the mind is creative. So if you're wanting to know, you're actually telling your mind not to have an answer. Wanting to know is a lacking no answer. So could you let go of that lacking feeling that you feel, that wanting to know? And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. Now, by letting go wanting, you start moving into the all-knowing state. By letting go wanting, you move into that I of you, all-knowing, and you begin to find your own answers. So could you let go of wanting to figure it out some more? And more. And more. Now, why do you want to use the butt system? Is it wanting approval? Wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more. And more. And more. And even more. And more. Let's see if there's more. Wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And whichever one there is, could you just let it go? and more, and more, and more. Now, as I said before at the outset, the mind is a creative instrument. When you eliminate all negativity from your mind, you become positive. And the law of the universe is positive attracts positive and negative attracts negative. So when you let go of that wanting feeling, you're moving into having. And when you do that, you start moving into the but system. Just by quieting your mind, and the mind is creative, it's an afterthought. With no effort, I can allow something to happen. There's no wanting in the but system. It's just allowing. Now, allow is a high energy, very high. It's an acceptance. I allow it to happen. Could I allow it to happen? And you get out of the way, and it just falls in your lap without any effort, and that's the but system. Totally foreign to most of us because we're into doing things and figuring it out and wanting, which moves you further and further away from the actual but system. It strictly means you sit on your rear end and you release your I can'ts. So let's take a look at one of the I can'ts that you have. What's one I can't you have? Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And let's take another look at an I can't. Bring up another I can't. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? If you notice, as we keep releasing the I can'ts, you start moving from I can't into I can. So let's take another look at another I can't. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more, and more. Let's take another look at another I can't. Remember, the mind is creative, and what you hold in mind is what you get. And Henry Ford said, if you think you can, and if you think you can't, you can't. If you eliminate all of your I can'ts, you'll move into I can, and then you'll allow things to happen, and that would be the but system. Let's take another look at an I can't. It's your thought. Could you let go of being so smart and allow it to be other than what you think it is? And more, and more, and more, and more. And see how you feel about it now, that I can't. Hopefully, if we let go of enough I can'ts, which we will do on this CD, you will move into I can. And when you think you can, you can. So let's take another look at another I can't. Does that constitute either wanting approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. Now bring up another I can't. Another one. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. Now let's take another look at a judgment. Can you see that you're judging yourself? How does that help you? And that judgment that you have, is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. And bring up another judgment. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And bring up another judgment. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. Bring up another judgment. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. Now think of another I can't. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And let's think of another I can't. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Now imagine having exactly what you want. Could you allow yourself, for example, to be a millionaire? Notice there's a contraction in your stomach, your chest about it. Now that's exactly what's in your way. That contraction is loaded with I can'ts, shouldn'ts, judgments, and so on. And it's coming up so it could leave. So open up, notice the contraction, open up the door, and just allow the energy to start moving through. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. Imagine being a millionaire. See if a contraction shows up. Open up. And just allow the energy to pass through. To show you the resistance we have, imagine not doing anything. Not doing anything, just sitting on your butt. See if it brings up a wanting approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe. And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Imagine not doing anything, not taking an action. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you allow what it is that you're after? Could you allow it to happen? Could you allow it to happen? Does that throw you into figuring it out? All right, ask your friend your mind. How do I do it? Doesn't know. So asking something that doesn't know is silly. So could you let go of figuring it out? And more. And more. When you get into figuring it out, it's the antithesis of the bud system. You're going nowhere fast. And it's always followed by beating yourself up. So could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And could you give yourself some approval? If you gave yourself enough approval, you'd fall into allowing things to happen. Because the law of the universe is positive attracts positive and negative attracts negative. So could you allow it to happen, whatever it is you're after? The big house, the money, the success, the perfect relationships. Could you just allow it to happen? See if there's a contraction in your stomach or your chest. Open up and just allow the energy to pass through. And more. And more. Many people call me up and tell me that they like the course, all kinds of things are happening, but they're not having the financial success. They're not having the health success that they wanted. The only reason for that is you're into wanting. And want is lack. And if that's the case, you got to make sure you have the Accelerated Learning CD, which will help you have some clarity about what's going on. If you're into wanting, and wanting is lack, then the mind is going to create lack. If you take your shoe and you throw it in an oven and you turn the oven on, the oven's going to bake the shoe. It doesn't care what you put in there. Oh, you want lack? Okay, I'll give you lack. It doesn't care. So you got to examine your thinking and correct it. And that's part of the butt system. Examining your thinking, you sit on your butt, you examine your thinking, and you start bringing it to approval, control, or security, and correcting it by letting go. The way you let go is you see things as either wanting approval, wanting control, and wanting to be safe. You let it go, and therefore you're removing all the I can'ts, all the things that are stopping you from having, and you move into allowing. And once you allow it to happen, you become hootless. Hootless means you don't have any more wanting. It doesn't matter. As long as it matters, you're into wanting. And you're going to want to approve it. And you're going to want to control it. You're going to want approval. And you want to feel safe. And all of those times, you move into I can'ts. Because it's a lacking feeling, and lack equals I can't. And if you let go of I can't, you move into I can. Every time you let go of some negativity, you're moving closer and closer to I can. Every time you store up negativity, it's a victory for garbage. Every time you release, it's a victory for freedom. So it's either going to be a victory for garbage, or a victory for freedom. You decide. Make it a decision with all your might. Years ago I did that. I decided. I'll be damned if it's going to be a victory for garbage. I made it with all my might, and every time the feelings come up, instead of suppressing them, I let them go. Because it's up to me, it's not up to anybody else. It's either going to be a victory for garbage or a victory for freedom. My choice. Life is a decision. I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to be poor. I'm going to release, I'm going to suppress. I'm going to love myself, I'm going to beat myself up. I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be poor. I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be sick. It's all a decision. Examine it. Whose decision is it? Whatever you think is so. Whatever you think is so. Change your thinking and everything changes. So think of something that you gotta. You got a bad case of I gotta. All right, is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe, that you gotta do this and you gotta do that in order to have things? All you do is sit down and let go of your goddess, and you'll move into the but system. You just don't need to do anything. You leave the realm of I can't, and you move into the realm of I can by letting go of your I can'ts. So think of something you got to do, you got to have. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. Think of another gotta. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Think of another gotta. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Now, a way of moving into the but system is to use the goals. You've heard me say it many times. I'll say it again. We have a goals and resistance course. So if you had no resistance, you'd be moving right into the but system. You'd allow things to happen. And by knocking out your I can'ts is what you use with doing the goals. You write down what you're interested in, and up is going to come I can'ts, I wants. Knock them all out, and what's left is I can. So you sit and you do a goal chart on whatever you're working on. Do many of them. That'll bring up your I can'ts. You write it in a positive way. That's going to bring up your I can'ts. You let them go. You're sitting on your butt. You're just releasing, and you're proving it to yourself. You see, don't believe a word I'm saying, but take it for checking. When Lester told me years ago that working is for slaves, working is stupid, I was a really hard worker. And when he said that, it boggled my mind. But what I love about the method is you don't have to believe a word anybody says. You can find out for yourself by checking it out. When you check it out, you discover he's correct. He told me years ago there's no such thing as a germ. That was mind-boggling to me. No such thing as a germ. I had every allergy, I had migraine headaches, all kinds of illnesses. So I walked away from that meeting and I thought to myself, if he's right, I get to get rid of all my illnesses. If he's wrong, I'm no worse off than I am right now. I'm back where I started and nothing to lose. So I applied the technique, thus proving it to myself by taking it for checking, and discovered that there was no such thing as illnesses. I haven't seen a doctor in 30 years. Okay, next thing he says to me is working is stupid. That was me using the but system. It started me on a way to use the but system just by sitting and releasing. I began to show myself that by allowing things to happen, by getting rid of my I can'ts, my judgments, and on and on and on, I started to allow things to happen, and they were just happening. I got a big house for next to nothing. All kinds of things were happening, signed big contracts, just by allowing it to happen. And that's the butt system. You sit and you release. I recommend you do many, many goals a day. Just sit around. Your mind won't like it. It'll bring up, I gotta. I decided with all my might, and you can use this goal, I allow myself to do absolutely nothing except release and have an abundant life with ease. It's such a fantastic goal. Try it. You'll like it. You got nothing to lose. Most people don't like working. They don't like doing things. They don't like laboring. They don't like pushing and shoving. And the more you do it is because you're into the habit of wanting. And when you're wanting, you're creating lack, and therefore you get lack. No surprises. No surprises at all. The only reason you don't have your goals is you're into wanting. If you would let go of your wanting and spend your time releasing the habit of wanting, you'd move into having. And all you'd have to do is have an effortless thought. That would be nice if I had this. And it would just fall in your lap without moving a muscle because the mind is a creative instrument. The problem is most of us are not mastering our mind. And you'd be doing it by sitting down and using the butt system and watching each one of your feelings come up. One after the other, they'll come up. Your mind won't like it. It doesn't like doing nothing. Doing the exercise on worrying, thinking and doing something in the Abundance Book is a sensational way of beginning to use the butt system. Go back, take a look at attachments and aversions to worrying. Take a look at attachments and aversions to thinking. Take a look at attachments and aversions to doing something. Take a look and then read the ponder. Ponder thinking, worrying, and doing something. Take a look at it. Practice that. It'll start moving you closer and closer to using the butt system, so you'll know what the butt system actually is rather than asking me about it, because it can't be intellectual. You can only experience using the butt system. It's not an intellectual thing. Only by doing the work. If you really want to show up and really build momentum, keep releasing, knocking out the I can'ts. Many of you have been doing it for a long time, and by knocking out the I can'ts, you have less I can'ts than you ever had before, thus proving that you could eliminate these I can'ts. And you're more I can than you ever were before, especially if you're using momentum, especially if you're showing up in live classes, especially if you got the Goals and Resistance course and the What Am I Going to Do When I Grow Up course, and all the other courses. If you want to know which is the pecking order, go to a website called releasetechnique.com/audios, and there's a CD there which explains which courses you should take in which order. As you build up the momentum, you're letting go of the I can'ts, and you're moving closer and closer and closer to the butt system. Only by quieting your mind and moving into beingness. Beingness has no I can'ts. Beingness is only I can. No limitations at all, whatsoever. And by quieting your mind, you move into I can and you leave the realm of I can't. Just get in touch with right now, that breathing. Take a look at your breathing. And just concentrate on your breathing. In and out. In and out. In and out. Doing this allows you to quiet your mind real fast. Practice that. Just watching your breathing, going in and out. It eliminates all these extraneous thoughts, all that noise that's going on in your head. And for that moment, you're in the present moment. You're in the now. And when you're in the now, you're all powerful. If you're covered with all these thoughts, millions of thoughts constantly playing and plaguing you, you're in an I can't, because all these thoughts, if you examine them real carefully, they're all I can'ts. So get a picture of your mind, whatever that means to you, that noisy mind. And could you allow it to evaporate and dissolve, the picture of the mind? And more. and more, and more, and even more. And get a picture of your body, whatever that means to you. And could you allow that picture to evaporate and dissolve? And more, and more, and more. And get in touch with that part of you that says, I have to do it. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Could you allow that picture to evaporate and dissolve? That concept, can you allow it to evaporate and dissolve? That belief system that you have to do anything. Could you just allow it to evaporate and dissolve? And more, and more, and more. Now ask yourself, if I'm not my mind, and I'm not my body, and I'm not my ego, what am I? Now, there's no right or wrong answers. So whatever answer you got, could you just allow yourself to surrender to that? And more, and more, and more, and more, and more, and more. And could you just say yes? All you got to do is say yes. Think of something that you're interested in having. Could you say yes to it? Could you just say yes to it some more? Could you allow it to happen? Say yes. Could you allow it to happen with ease? Just say yes. Say yes some more. 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 And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. If you're not your mind, and if you're not your body, and you're not your ego, what are you? What are you? And whatever answer you get, could you just surrender to it? And more. And more. And more. Now, this quiet place that you're in right now speaks to you. It's very spontaneous. So let's ask it some questions, and you just take what you get. So ask yourself if there is such a thing as a limitation. Just take what you get. Ask yourself if you need to figure it out. Just take what you get. Ask yourself if there is any I can'ts. Just take what you get. So could you just allow it to happen? Whatever it is, could you just allow it to happen? And more. And could you say yes to it? Could you say yes to abundance? And more. And could you say yes to health? And more. And more. And could you say yes to perfection? And more. And more. And more. So I invite you to use the but system. The only way you're going to do it is to do what I asked you to do on this CD set. You sit down, you keep releasing from moment to moment, eliminating all the I can'ts, one after the other, and moving closer and closer to I can, without moving your muscles, without doing anything. And when you let go of all your I can'ts, you'd be in I can, and it's going to fall in your pocket. You can't miss. A lot of people ask, well, how do I do but system goals? Now, we have a whole course called the Goals and Resistance course, but I'm going to give you a Reader's Digest version of how to do goals. I strongly suggest that you get the Goals and Resistance course. I never met anybody that ever cost one dime. You have nothing but millionaires, people getting rid of all kinds of illnesses, all kinds of things falling in their lap by using the Goals and Resistance course. But for right now, word a goal that you have. You need to do it positively. I allow myself to have $1 million. I allow myself to be successful. I allow myself to have a healthy body. Whatever it is, write it down. Or for right now, just think about the goal. I'm going to help you release on your I can'ts, which is all that happens. So when you write a goal down, immediately comes up your I can'ts. You see them and you knock them out one at a time. So let's talk about a goal and you do your own goal. I allow myself to have blank. Does that bring up a wanting approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more? And more. Now look again. I allow myself to have blank. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And you're knocking out whatever the wants are, thus moving into I can. Want is lack. So you let go of the want and you move into having. So I allow myself to have blank. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more. As you let go of the wants, you're feeling more and more positive. Let go of all the wants, and you'd move into having, with no limitations. I allow myself to have blank. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? I allow myself to have blank. Is that wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And more, and more, and more, and more. Now notice each time you're letting go of a want, you're getting more and more positive. When you let go of all your wants, you'd be in having. You need to play with it and prove it to yourself. You can't stand up and sit down at the same time, and you can't want and have at the same time. Either want or you have. That's a decision on your part. I'm going to release, I'm going to suppress. It's a decision. Life is just a decision. So could you allow it to be just the way you want it to be? Could you just allow it to happen? See if there's a contraction in your stomach, your chest. Open up and just allow that I can'ts, all of that energy. Could you just allow it to pass through? And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. So I got you started. You just keep working on it from moment to moment, looking at your I can'ts. You write the goal down, you knock out I can'ts by seeing it as wanting approval, wanting control, and wanting to be safe. And the more you do it, you start falling into the but system. Again, you can listen to an hour of the Goals and Resistance course at releasetechnique.com/audios and just follow it. I never met anybody that ever cost a dime. The smart thing is don't just sit on your assets. Invest in yourself, because the more you self-invest, the more yourself appreciates. You can't miss. All you got to do is follow these step-by-step instructions. Show up at classes. Take the advanced courses. Keep the momentum going. If you actually stop releasing for a day or two, your mind will convince you that you can't release. All of a sudden, you'll get stuck. That's why it's so important to have the Goals and Resistance course, so you have the tools to dismantle this stuckness. The mind wants to shut you down. It is not your friend. As you start releasing, you'll discover that you can have only I can'ts, only I cans. You'll discover you can have only I cans and leave the realm of I can't. If you're into figuring it out, you're into I can't. Your mind doesn't have answers. It's negative. Let it go, and you'll be positive. And you'll live in a world of I can. You'll live in a world of allowing things to happen. You'll live in a world of having. And you'll be happy all the time. When you get to a place like that, nobody can give you anything. Nobody can take away anything from you. All you do is have everything and therefore want nothing. Once you get to that place, you're at the ultimate place. And everybody can do it. It's just a decision. I'm going to do it. And I'm not stopping until I accomplish it. That's what Lester did. Step number 6 in the 6 steps. The happier you are, the freer you are. The more you do it, the happier you get. Don't stop. Don't stop by feeling nice. Let that go. Move lighter and lighter and lighter, happier and happier. Lester decided, I'm not stopping until I get all the goodness of what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not stopping until it's all gone, all the negativity. Even when the nice feelings came up, if you would hold on to it, you're actually suppressing. Therefore, containing all the suppressed negative energy and not letting it up and out. So by letting go of the negativity and even letting go of the nice feelings, you continue to release and get lighter and lighter and lighter. And that's the goal, ultimate freedom, totality of it. The amount of positive energy that you have inside is unlimited, all blinded by the ag flap. All you got to do is get rid of the ag flap, and everything you're looking for is right inside you. You're 100% positive. You're 100% love. You're a love machine inside, covered up with ag flap. Get rid of the ag flap and you'll see what you really are. So thank you for listening. Practice what I'm asking you to do, and you'll be successful. You'll be happy. You'll be imperturbable, where nothing and nobody bothers you. And you'll live in a world of having instead of living in a world of wanting. Wanting is your curse. Let go of that wanting and move into having. And thank you for joining me. We appreciate it. Listen to this CD over and over again. You can't miss. Thank you.